The Bahamas are famous for their sandy beaches and friendly people. But beneath the surface lies a secret world. Over 1,000 flooded caves, known as blue holes, litter the landscape. Diving into them is extremely dangerous. Risking everything, a film crew from Japan have set out to explore these remarkable caves, including the Mount Everest of underwater caves, Fanghorn Forest. They must brave toxic underwater clouds and claustrophobic squeezes if they are to reveal the breathtaking secrets of the Bahamas blue holes. An expedition is underway on the idyllic islands of the Bahamas. Lying just off Florida, the Bahamas extend for over 800 kilometers. But only half their story is told above ground. Over 1,000 flooded caves, known as blue holes, stretch for many kilometers below the ground. This is why the team are here, to explore these remarkable underwater caves. On Abaco Island, they are met by Brian Kakuk, who will guide the expedition on their quest. Brian has 20 years' experience as a cave diving specialist and has logged over 3,000 blue hole dives.
So this was from 20 years ago.
Leading the film crew is experienced underwater cameraman Shigeru Furushima. But to film the blue holes will require special training and a unique skill set. The dangers are very real, and Brian is open about the risks.
This graph here shows how many divers had died in caverns while they were actually trained for it versus how many died in there who were not cave trained.
Brian takes the crew to his special cave dive training ground, known as Dan's Cave. Extending nearly a kilometer underground, Brian says it's one of the most beautiful caves in the world. Cave diving is completely different to recreational diving. It takes special equipment and a special type of person. Everything must be taken into the cave in duplicate. Because if any equipment should fail, the team can't simply surface. They will have to work their way back to the cave mouth. Although Brian's calling it training, if you're momentarily careless doing this kind of diving, you can die. Duplicate air tanks are side-mounted to allow the team to squeeze through smaller gaps than if they had them on their backs. To focus on their training, The crew will not be filming, but the small camera attached to Brian's helmet will record their dive.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Very little light penetrates inside the cave. They start by practicing how to securely fasten their guidelines into the rock. This rope will be a lifeline, ensuring the team can retrace their steps and not get lost. It seems like Brian is happy, and they proceed deeper into the cave. The reason visibility is poor at the surface is because rainwater washes mud, leaves, and silt into the cave mouth. But at a depth of around 5 meters, the water becomes crystal clear. The stop sign is a stark reminder that the team still have a long way to go before they are fully cave trained. In the dark water, flashing their lights in circles is a sign that all is okay. After an hour underwater, their first training session is complete.
Good job.
Exciting.
Their first cave dive over, the team are exhausted. But the day is far from finished. After a short break, they return to the water for their second training dive of the day. This time, they will practice hovering in the water and maintaining neutral buoyancy. This is an important skill to learn, as the team will be heading into the unknown, and they don't want to damage these pristine caves. They will continue to build on these essential skills and work to complete their training. Soon the team will be able to film and explore these caves for the first time. One week later, Brian has good news.
I have to tell you that you both did very well. Very, very well. I would like to congratulate you both and present you with your cave diving certification card.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Training over, the team are finally ready to explore and film these remarkable underwater caves. Their first dive will take them deeper and further into their training cave. And this time, they'll be taking 2 state-of-the-art cameras. For this dive, Brian has prepared 3 tanks per person. The extra tank is known as a stage cylinder.
The stage cylinder is worn on the side like this, and it's breathed first, and it allows us to get further penetration into the cave. We breathe 1/3 of the gas supply in this cylinder. Once we reach that 1/3 limit on our pressure gauge, then we turn the gas off, take the cylinder off and tie it to the line, and then we continue on into the cave using whatever gas we have remaining on us, either more stages or just our side-mounted tanks. So this is for extending our time underwater further than the normal just double tanks.
This is the first time the team will be taking cameras into a Bahamian blue hole. Shigeru's camera captures their support diver up ahead. At a depth of around 10 meters, the crew pass through what is known as a halocline. Down to this depth, the cave is filled with fresh water from rainfall, but below this, it is salt water. At this meeting point of salt and fresh water, an eerie underwater mirage effect can be formed, making their vision blurred. As they pass through the halocline, their descent continues. Because salt water is more buoyant, the tanks become easier for the crew to carry. As they pass the stop sign, the team are now entering the danger zone. They must be careful not to get distracted if they're going to have enough air to penetrate further into the cave than before. "100 meters from the cave mouth, the team remove their stage cylinders. And they're greeted by another worldly sight. Stalactites hang ominously like swords from the cave ceiling. Where they meet stalagmites growing from the cave floor, immense Gothic pillars have been erected. It looks as though they're the only thing preventing a cave-in and certain death for the divers. These remarkable structures were actually formed before the cave became submerged. Stalactites are formed over tens of thousands of years when calcium carbonate dissolved in rainwater and groundwater drips down and solidifies. It can take them 1,000 years to grow just 1 centimeter. And in the Bahamas, stalactites have been found that have formed over 350,000 years. Exposed to air in a conventional limestone cave, stalactites can weather and collapse. But in the blue holes of the Bahamas, these fragile time capsules have been perfectly preserved by the water for thousands of years. After 30 minutes of dive time, moving through the complex network of caves, the crew are met by a sight that defies belief. The Crystal Palace. It's an incredible stalactite corridor, reminiscent of an alien world from a science fiction film. And so too are the creatures that live down here. primitive fish thrive in a world with no light. With no need for them, their eyes have disappeared, and even the way they swim is unique. Shrimps less than 2 centimeters long survive here too, by feeding on plankton inside the cave. And in turn, Remipedia, the predators of the deep, feed on the shrimp. They are said to be living fossils, as they've hardly evolved in 300 million years. Dan's cave continues deeper, but with only 3 tanks of air, this is the furthest the team can go this time. After an hour, it is time to return to the surface. The Crystal Palace is about 250 meters from the cave mouth. But the crew have heard rumors of a place beyond all imagination, deeper still into the heart of Dan's cave. Fangorn Forest.
Fangorn Forest is it's the Mount Everest of cave diving. It's the best you will ever see underwater as far as the caves go. The crystals and the formations are not found anywhere else in the world.
If the crew are to attempt the Everest of cave diving, they will need to take their diving to a whole new level. Despite appearances, the remarkable underwater caves found in the Bahamas were not always flooded. The land here is primarily limestone, and as a result of water dissolving the bedrock, many caves have formed. When the seawater rose, many of these caves became flooded. On average, the islands of the Bahamas are only 10 meters above sea level, and the sea is creeping up onto the land. "20,000 years ago, the sea level was 100 meters lower than it is today, leaving the land exposed. Rainwater percolated down through the ground, dissolving the limestone, forming dry, stalactite-filled caves. As the Earth's temperature increased and the seawater rose, the caves became flooded. Perfectly preserved over the millennia, these incredible underwater worlds are a journey back in time. And one cave shows this better than most. Brian takes the team to Ralph's cave in the heart of the woods. The team have not seen caves like this before. Thin, fragile stalactites hang like lace curtains from the roof. Because they haven't been exposed to air, these delicate forms have survived for tens of thousands of years. Translucent stalagmites glow in the dark like floating lamps. Sharply pointed stalactites known as frozen rain bear down on the team. Some even burst out like flowers. It is thought this is because they touched the surface of the water while they were being formed over the centuries. Of the 1,000 plus underwater caves of the Bahamas, research has only been conducted on around 20%. The team are eager to learn what it really takes to discover caves like these. Another day dawns, and today, Brian has a surprise for the crew. Brian has been diving the blue holes of the Bahamas for over 20 years, but there are still countless unknown caves. This time, the crew are heading out to sea, to a cave in a shallow area that has never been explored before. Brian is the head diver of the Bahamas Caves Research Foundation and has explored 80 of these underwater caves. But one of the problems in being the first explorers of these secret worlds is actually finding the caves themselves. Brian finally spots what he's looking for. Bubbling water reveals the entrance to the cave. The dive is on.
So remember, if there's an emergency, just stand up. All right?
Okay.
Brian goes straight down, head first. The crew are truly heading into the unknown. They are about to go where no one has gone before, deep beneath the Earth's surface. Undeterred, they aim for the depths, stretching the guideline as they go. But as they continue deeper and deeper, the cave narrows until they can barely fit through. Getting stuck here could spell disaster. They've made it through the first squeeze. But it looks like a dead end. Brian gives the signal for wait. But the only way forward is down. There is literally a hair's width between Brian and the cave walls. It's so narrow, the camera equipment might not even fit. Once again, Brian's helmet camera will record the dive. Water still flows upwards from somewhere deep below. But the cave becomes too narrow, even for Brian. Exploring underwater caves is extremely dangerous, and many divers have died trying. It takes a special type of explorer, and Brian has been discovering new caves like this for 20 years. After an hour, the air in their tanks is getting low, and it's time to return to the surface. The team are glad to have made it back alive. But for Brian, this is just another day in the office.
That was fun. You enjoyed it? I enjoyed it. That was fun. I like caves that are physically challenging. I mean, I love being in caves that are beautiful and you float around and ooh ah ah, but I also like caves that you have to fight for, and you know, you have to say, okay, where's the water coming from? Then you grind through a little hole, and then it gets just big enough to lift your head up, and then you go a little ways, and then it gets small again. Grind, grind, grind. So it's fun, especially when you see that the cave is going to continue. So there's more exploration to do. We don't like it when the cave ends.
The underwater caves in the Bahamas have many secrets to tell. Some caves also hold clues to ancient creatures long forgotten. Nancy Albury is curator of paleontology at the National Museum of the Bahamas and works closely with Brian.
This is Sawmill Sink. You can see that it's a round inland blue hole.
Sawmill Sink was formed by a cave-in. In time, rainwater falling onto the seawater already in the cave filled up the channel all the way to the surface.
Okay. All right, see you guys in a little while.
And at the end of this cave, ancient fossils sleep. Armed with boxes to collect samples, Brian descends with cameraman Shigeru once again. About 10 meters into their descent, a strange red mist appears and swallows Brian into the depths. It hides a dangerous secret: toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. This toxic layer is created by bacterial colonies and decaying organic matter. It forms at the boundary between freshwater and saltwater and is toxic enough to cause nausea and dizziness if divers remain in it for too long. In fact, hydrogen sulfide in higher doses can even cause death. Luckily, Brian and Shigeru passed through safely. Because this layer blocks out sunlight, underneath it there is barely any oxygen present. But thanks to this unique environment, the remains of many ancient creatures have been frozen in time. Today, Brian is going down to collect evidence for Nancy's research. "30 meters below the surface, Brian finds something. This discovery could be vital in determining the history of the caves, so he carefully cradles the remains. Because of the lack of oxygen, animal remains do not get oxidized or decomposed by microorganisms, leaving pristine clues to the past. Hopefully, these findings will help shed some light on unanswered mysteries. Holding their valuable specimens, the team make their way through the hydrogen sulfide layer and back to the surface.
Oh my goodness.
Little bitty guy.
Okay, no mandible.
Nope, he wasn't in there.
You can see that it was in these sediments. It's actually coating it fairly entirely. And there's still teeth that are preserved in it. These crocodiles most closely resemble the Cuban freshwater crocodile. Because we don't have crocodiles in the Bahamas anymore. They're extinct in the Bahamas. They no longer occur. So one of the questions that we have is, how did they get here? And then, of course, why are they gone? The hydrogen sulfide is important for the preservation of the fossils in Sawmill Sink. Looking at Sawmill Sink, the stories that are coming out of it are just incredible.
But in a cave on Grand Bahama Island, there have been discoveries of huge cultural significance. The final resting place of the Bahamas' indigenous people, the Lucayans. The Lucayan people disappeared after the 15th century. Brian is heading back to a very special discovery he made on a previous dive, one thought to be centuries old. A human skull. To the Lucayans, caves were sacred. They were born inside their chambers and believed in death, their bodies should be returned to these everlasting tombs. The day has finally arrived for the crew to attempt to film the Mount Everest of underground caves.
So today we're going to the Fangorn Forest, which is an incredible room inside of Dan's cave.
It is 800 meters from the cave mouth to Fangorn Forest, so they must plan carefully if they are to return safely.
It's a long swim, and it takes 2 stages to get there. Okay, so side mounts plus 2 stages, 4 tanks. We start out in the yellow line and go through the cavern room, past the stop sign, into the Cascade room, past the Mad room, past Crystal Palace. Now at Crystal Palace, right here, we drop first stages. And we leave them there. Through this big room here, and then the line is going to go down to 47 meters. It's called Deep Way. Right here, we drop the second stage, number 2. Okay? This will be the best dive of your life.
The team have now dived Dan's cave several times. But this time, each person must carry 4 tanks. And they will be underwater for 3 hours. Everything must be checked and rechecked. At the cave entrance, they equip themselves with the 4 tanks that will keep them alive on this epic dive. And they are ready to go. Four tanks is just about enough to dive to around 800 meters and return. To save their air, they must take the most direct route possible. Moving through the tight holes and stalactite-filled caverns, they work their way deeper and deeper into the cave. Finally, they reach the stalactite corridor and Crystal Palace, 300 meters from the cave mouth. At this point, they drop their first stage tanks. From here on in, they are diving into the unknown. Squeezing between the rocks, they descend another 47 meters in one go. "600 meters from the mouth of the cave, they drop their second stages. But there is still 200 meters to go until they reach Fangorn Forest. As the space opens out, the roof is covered in an incredible array of stalactites. Despite the cavern's breathtaking beauty, the best is still to come. Shigeru is eager to find the famed cavern, and so they press on. "800 meters from the entrance, the scenery is transforming into something completely different. As they approach the edge of Fangorn Forest, stalagmites grow up from the floor like dead trees. It feels like the team have wandered into an ancient kingdom. Over thousands of years, some stalagmites have grown to form majestic shapes that resemble grand buildings, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. As they dive deeper still, the team enter a magical corridor, the gateway to the heart of the forest. This extraordinary place was named after a fantastical forest in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. In the story, Fangorn is a deep primeval forest where the trees are alive and strange creatures roam. And this place does seem as if magic had a part to play in its creation. Stalactites of all shapes and sizes decorate the ceiling of this magnificent cave. Nothing can prepare the team for what comes next. They've finally reached the heart of Fangorn Forest. Only a privileged few have journeyed to this lost world. With Brian's help, the team have done it. They've managed to film one of the most isolated and beautiful underwater caves on the planet, Fangorn Forest. The further they go, the more incredible the cave becomes. Huge columns standing 10 meters tall dwarf the team as they swim by. Every inch reveals answers about the many different environments that the stalactite was exposed to whilst it was being formed. These remarkable rock formations truly are as grand as any sculptor's work of art. Fanghorn Forest has exceeded all of the team's expectations. And together, they have managed to conquer the Mount Everest of cave diving.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
It was very good, very good. Katsu, very good. Thank you very much. Excellent, very good job.
Being an explorer in the year 2011, there are not many opportunities to really, truly be an explorer and be someone who sees something that, or goes somewhere where no one else has ever been before. And so that's a very unique opportunity. I'd like to stay here as long as I can possibly still cave dive. And I'm sure I won't finish by the time I'm too old. There'll still be more to do. I'll be standing here as an old man watching the younger guys go in, wishing I was going in too.
Scientists around the world are only just beginning to understand the ancient dramas that have been trapped and preserved in these underwater worlds. But over time, who is to say how many more secrets the Bahamas blue holes may hold?